We start with the presidential election in our battleground state. Arizona is now rated a toss-up after Democratic nominee Kamala Harris shook up the race last month. Republican nominee Donald Trump tried to grab back the spotlight with a Kennedy by his side. And you won't believe who else showed up Friday at Trump's rally in Glendale. I'm happy our guests showed up today. Barrett Marson, Republican consultant at Marson Media, and Reginald Boulding, former Democratic leader of the House of Representatives. Welcome back to Square Off.
Good morning.
Yes. Let's start with Donald Trump's rally Friday at a packed Desert Diamond Arena. The star of the show on stage was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a member of the historic Kennedy clan. He endorsed Trump and took his own name off the Arizona presidential ballot. Barrett, Trump supporters are thrilled by this endorsement. Should they be thrilled?
Sure. Look, it's probably going to have a minimal impact, but in a state that literally voted for Biden 4 years ago by less than 11,000 votes, a minimal impact is all that you may need for Trump to be victorious this time around. Remember, Trump has yet to get 50% in either 2016 or 2020.
Bad news for Kamala Harris?
No, I don't think so. I mean, when you look at the race, if you would have had Kamala Harris, Trump, and RFK, those RFK Jr. voters, they weren't voting for Kamala. I mean, this is a guy who's had conspiracy theories. It's a guy his camp is much more aligned with Trump anyway, so he would have been a spoiler for Trump much more than a spoiler for Harris. So, I mean, it's going to be a minimum impact.
Should J.D. Vance have someone testing his food before he eats it now? His RFK?
Just not at a donut shop, apparently.
Right.
One of the donut shops. Look, I think that no one's going to vote really for RFK or Vance, right? It's Trump. And now that those double haters don't have another choice, and Biden is out. So, the race is kind of shook up a little bit, but it's Harris versus Trump. And that's what you eventually are going to go into the booth for.
Okay, so I teased a surprise guest at the rally.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't. No, it definitely wasn't you. 12 News anchor Troy Hayden ran into someone you might not expect to see at a rally. It was former New York mob hitman and Trump fan Sammy the Bull Gravano. Take a listen.
How could you not want this guy to fight for the country?
And your shirt, you want to show me your shirt?
Two convicted felons, me and Trump. Him for the president, me for the vice president.
You're on the ticket?
I want to be on the ticket.
Two convicted felons. He wants on the ticket. Gravano's 79 years old. If you don't know his history, he was placed in the witness protection program here in Arizona in Tempe about 30 years ago. Later sent to prison for his role in a violent drug ring in Gilbert. Can you imagine the uproar if a mob hitman showed up at a Kamala Harris rally?
Look, there's two candidates that are both trying to go from the courthouse to the White House, but Trump's he's trying to avoid probation. He's trying to avoid, prison time for what he's been convicted of as a convicted felon. And of course, Kamala Harris as a former prosecutor. Look, this is Trump's crowd, and Trump is going to try to, ride that wave of folks, and, we'll see what happens.
According to the reporting, they do go way back to the construction business in New York. Let's turn to Vice President Harris. Barrett, how does she redefine herself in her acceptance speech at the DNC?
Well, she looked like a moderate. She sounded like a moderate. Whether she actually is one or not is a whole different story. But she looked and sounded like a pretty moderate person, someone that a lot of, moderates and independents and Democrats can get behind. So I think she hit a lot of right notes. Trump can say those same notes. Trump can play that same sheet of music as well. He just refuses to. And so it is now someone who probably is a little left of where most of America is, but isn't the crazy part.
But what about that? Trump does seem to be playing the same music again and again, hour and a half long speeches at rallies.
Well, one thing that we've known about Donald Trump over the last, 10 plus years, I mean, really his whole life, is that he's someone who has not been disciplined. You know, if you look a couple of months ago, you would have said that there's no way that Donald Trump doesn't lose this election, but he has literally put himself in a position where this is neck and neck, and in many places, especially here in Arizona, is looking like he's a little behind. So, I mean, he just hasn't been disciplined, and that's not someone who you want in the White House.
But that's it's not because he's not disciplined. It is literally because there was a change at the top of the table. If it was still Biden, if they didn't have that debate in June, if it was still Biden at the top of the ticket, we would still be seeing that same race. And, you know, it's not because he's been undisciplined, which he's been undisciplined forever. And someone should tell Trump less is more. You're right. You know,
That hasn't worked
45 minutes is good enough. You know, I mean, his acceptance speech ran way too long. Like this show, it's going to run way too long.
No, it won't. We're done. Barrett Marson, Reg Bolding, thanks so much for joining us. Big debate coming up September 10th, 2.5 weeks.